It's a Stick and Hack show. This week, a huge program. We have Pia Nilsson and Lynn Marriott from Vision 54 helping us through the incredible teachings and power of instruction their way, and it's remarkable. Plus, we play Stick or Hack. It's right now on the Stick and Hack show.
This is the Stick and Hack Show. Conversation, discussion, debate, and golf talk from a stick, Mike Ryan, and the hack, Adam Grubb. Boys, you are up.
Hey, everybody, welcome in. It is the Stick and Hack Show. I'm your host, the hack, Adam Grubb. That is the stick, Mike Ryan. Mike, what is up?
Not much as usual.
Yeah, it's shocking.
It's cold out now.
Does anything ever happen in your life where you would be like, hey, Adam, this happened? No. Okay, great.
I'm very low key.
All right. Really? That is 37 episodes. Shock of the year. Nobody knew that. All right, we have an incredible show. This is quite possibly the greatest golf show in the free world from the greatest golf club in the world without the course. The Stick and Hack Show, presented by Phone Caddy by Desert Fox Golf. Become a free member of Stick and Hack and get exclusive deals, discounts, and giveaways from great brands like Phone Caddy by Desert Fox Golf. More on that in a second. Guests today are Pia Nilsson and Lynn Marriott, owner and founders of Vision 54. They are coaches, they are teachers, they are authors, and they're among the only women in the top 25 of PGA and LPGA coaches and have changed the game and thinking for so many people for so many years. We are honored and excited to have them on the show. They are the authors of Every Shot Has a Purpose and Be a Player, both of which I've read, and this is not their fault, but it has not improved my game at all. There's a good chance, however, that it's a player error at that point.
Why am I not shocked by that?
No, they are royalty in the golf profession, and we are really excited to have them on the show, and hopefully they can kind of take us through the Vision 54. Now, do you know what that means? Vision 54?
I do.
It's insane.
It is insane.
Their concept is that you can birdie every hole.
Yes.
Right, and that I guess trek towards perfection.
That's right.
Is the Vision 54 thinking, and golf is a thinking game, and they are taking the heart, the mind, the body, the soul, everything. They're combining it into a birdie round of 54.
Well, I'll let you know if it ever happens to me.
Okay, I am looking.
That will be a story.
Oh.
If we come in and I shoot 54 one day.
Let me make sure I understand. In order for you to have a story to tell on the show, you have to shoot one of the lowest rounds in the history of golf.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Lynn and Pia are going to be here in just a minute, and we are super excited. Let's talk quickly about Phone Caddy from Desert Fox Golf. Mike, phone holder for golf carts designed to keep your phone safe and at your fingertips. Fits almost all phones and cases and keeps your apps, messages, and that pesky work email in front of you on the golf course. So that way you can keep up with things.
Yes.
And say, yeah, I'll get to that later. I'm on a call right now. You can respond that way quickly right from your cart.
Keeps you productive.
Keeps you productive.
Yes.
Right. But also your golf apps, everything in front of you, and it keeps your phone out of the cup holder where we believe your beer should be. Go to our Members Perks program and save 20% today on the Phone Caddy from Desert Fox Golf, proud sponsor of the Stick and Hack program. All right, first up here, we're teaching golf. Now, Mike, you know the name Jack Grout?
Absolutely.
Okay, Jack Grout was born in Oklahoma. His golf career began, as many does, in 1918 as a caddy at the old Oklahoma City Golf and Country Club. In 1927, at the age of 17, he was named the golf professional there at his course. And in 1929, just one day after the stock market collapsed, he was elected to membership and in the PGA. Several months later, he moved with his brother Dick to Fort Worth, Texas, and he began working as the head professional there. The older brother began working as a professional. It was at Glen Garden where Jack Grout, employed as his brother's assistant, became friends and playing partners with an 18-year-old kid by the name of Byron Nilsson and 17-year-old Ben Hogan.
That's so wild.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Hey, what's your name? Byron Nilsson.
Yeah.
What's your name? Ben Hogan.
Yeah.
You guys are you're going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Real soon.
Yeah.
And you're going to be world renowned forever in golf lore. Byron Nilsson, Ben Hogan, and Jack Grout became friends, and of course Byron and Ben, we know what happened to them. Grout and Jack Nicklaus worked together as coach and student from the time Nicklaus began golf in 1950. They developed a very unique arrangement where Nicklaus would visit Grout at the start of each new season to review fundamentals virtually from scratch. Nicklaus would consult Grout periodically for tune-ups and minor modifications away from the tour. if he was struggling for form, but Nicklaus primarily stayed with the knowledge he acquired with Grout and never went back to him throughout the year. Grout would make annual visits to the Masters, Open, and PGA Championship, but seldom instructed Nicklaus at major tournament sites, which is completely different than what it is today.
Than today, yeah. Although I would argue that his method was probably a better method.
Agreed. The coaches now, I mean, they travel with them. They're at every tournament. They're at every ball that's hit on the range.
Yeah.
They are right next to them with their agent, with the press agent, with their PR. I mean, these teams of people working right next to him. Back in those days, Nicklaus went and played, and then he would call Jack and he'd be like, "Hey, when are we going to meet for next season?"
Yep.
You know, and almost start over. Grout believed in self-sufficiency, that a golfer had to be in charge of his own swing. His conviction was that a golfer could achieve his full potential only by being self-reliant, which is, in my view, extremely scary. To think that you would have a coach, but then you say, "Hey, you got to go do it, and you got to figure it out. I'm going to help you, but I'm not going to help you." Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of the teach a man to fish concept, right? I
don't know that concept. I'm just joking. I heard. Relax. I'm not going to make you say it.
Of course you did.
He is quoted as saying, this is Jack Grout, "The golfer who must fall back on a teacher every time any little thing sours in his game cannot but have a limited future," which is pretty profound and again, scary. Nicklaus would recall his teacher this way: "Jack knew the golf swing probably as well as any instructor ever has. But I think his greatest gift to his students was his belief in them and his ability to get them to believe in themselves. He wanted you not only to be skilled technically, but also to be so confident of your skills that you could identify and fix your own swing flaws even in the heat of battle, even without him there by your side. In other words, Jack Grout worked to be dispensable. He wanted his students to be able to function at the highest level without him," which is, in most cases, what every teacher of any ilk wants. They want their students to be able to learn from them and then move on without them and not need them by their side.
Absolutely.
You feel that the Jack Grout method is better, easier, and more applicable to a normal person's life than that teacher staying with the professional golfer on the road and in every tournament.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things you've got to be able to. You can't sit there and you're hitting the ball poorly or whatever, and then you have to go to someone every time you've got a problem. You've got to be able to be self-sufficient and figure out your own swing, because no one's going to know your swing better than you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, a teacher can give you, a foundation, but ultimately you've got to own it and be able to become better and own that.
Jack Grout is one of the most respected teachers of all time, and not just because of his students. I mean, he had very famous students. He had very, very famous golfers that came to him. But at the time, teaching professionals weren't really a thing like they are now. And to illuminate that point, let's look at the rates of some of the teachers today. I'm going to start low. Okay. Sean Foley is $1,000 per hour. Okay. So if my math's right, a half day would be $6,000.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
Yep.
All right. Next, you got David Ledbetter, $3,500 for 3 hours. Now, so far, two huge names.
Yep.
Foley, Ledbetter. Next is Butch Harmon, $1,500 per hour.
Yep.
Okay. That's like, I think, well, I was going to do some quick math there live on the show, and I realized
that's a bad idea.
I realized that I shouldn't. I was going to try to get it down to the per minute.
Yeah, no, live math does not ever work out well for you or me both.
It's like a live test on a Zoom call. Next is so I've done Hank Haney.
Yep.
$15,000 per day.
Yep.
And Shane seeing money signs. Maybe I should get into teaching because this thing sucks. Dave Pell's $20,000 per day. Is that for real?
He might be worth it.
I don't know if anyone's worth $20,000.
He is a short game guru.
Okay.
Short game's it's where it's at, man.
I agree with you. Yeah. That's not in question.
Highest return on investment.
That's not in question. If I spent $20,000 for Dave Fellows to show me how to not miss a 5-footer, what's that going to do for my game?
I don't know. You might win an extra $20 next weekend.
Exactly. I have to win.
You do the ROI.
I have to win out the next 2,000 times I play for it to make any sense. But, those guys, Haney, Harmon, and Foley, all three worked with Tiger.
Yep.
And all three were fired by Tiger.
And that's why they get that rate.
That's why they get that rate. In some cases, that's kind of the argument against Haney, is that's the only reason he gets that rate, is because he worked with Tiger. Now, I don't know if you've read any Haney's books, but they're pretty good. They're pretty remarkable. He's a good writer. He's a good author. But man, that is intense.
That's salty.
Let's hope that today's guests do not charge us that rate for their appearance on the show. Ladies, welcome to the Stick and Hack Show. How are you?
We're great. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us.
And I do want to, just for the record, this is a volunteer basis, right? We do not have to send you a check for $1,500 for this hour of your time, do we?
No, you just have to pay for those books sitting there.
Hey,
yeah,
I did.
exactly.
I've already done that. Absolutely. It is great to have you guys on the show. Now, you had said right before the program that you did have a story about Jack Grout. And
yeah.
Right, Lynn? Did you have any dealings with him specifically?
Yeah. So my first job as a golf professional, as a PGA member, I was a teaching professional at a place called Frenchman's Creek in North Palm Beach. And actually, Nicholas was a member there before he built like Loxahatchee and these other, and then the Bears Club years later. But anyway, Mr. Grout taught there. I called him Mr. Grout, not Jack Grout. And this one day, I'm a young teaching professional, and I'm out on the range, and I'm giving a lesson to a lady from Japan who can't speak English, next to Mr. Grout working with Jack Nicklaus, like maybe 4 feet away. And the lady from Japan wasn't quite getting what I was telling her, and she hit a lateral, not a shank. Literally a lateral. Like it went across the tee, and it went through both Jack's and Mr. Grout's legs, like right between the legs. So they look over at me, and I'm like, and I just kind of do one of these, and the lady from Japan didn't really understand what she had done. She didn't know who they were. And I apologized. I said, I'm so sorry. She's just learning the game. And and they were like really gracious. They said, well, keep it going.
So you did,
anyway.
you earned your money that lesson, I would assume, correct? How did she work with you longer? And is she now?
No, it was a one and done.
Well, that makes sense. So,
that's funny. Lynn, you mentioned Frenchman's Creek. My golf pro that I grew up learning from actually played for Palm Beach Community College and played at Frenchman's Creek, which is wild.
Wow, that is wild.
His name is Brian Hill, and he worked with Jim Flick a bit when he was down there as well. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Which is
we kind of had a little teaching mecca there with Mr. Grout, Jim Flick, Phil Rogers, Gardner Dickinson.
Yeah.
So,
well,
awesome. Great place to.
Pia and Lynn, you guys are world-renowned teachers, coaches, authors, and you're the founders of Vision 54, which is a mental state to go out and shoot 18 birdies. You've authored both of these books here that are on the desk, Be a Player and Every Shot Must Have Its Purpose. We appreciate you guys, your time here being on the Stick and Hack Show. Now, shooting 18 birdies and shooting a 54, that's insane. Let's just be honest, okay? Can we just say that's crazy? Where did that come from, and where does that mental drive for near perfection in golf come from you guys?
Well, actually, the 54 came up in February 1991 when I was the head coach in Sweden, and it came from that I was getting frustrated that many of the young Swedes had all these excuses why they couldn't play great golf because of our winter, and greens are not good enough, and Americans and others are so far ahead. So it just came in a way of challenging them, because these were the elite golfers, and most of them had made birdies on each one of the holes of the home course. So just to get them out of the rut of having excuses, we just started challenging them. Okay, so what would it take to make those birdies during the same round? 54 is
being possible, how would you do it? So it came in the beginning just to change the mindset, but it's one of the smartest things we ever did because it changed all the players. I mean, Annika kept the 54 head cover ever since she heard that. It got us as coaches to step up to becoming better. And then when I started, doing more things with Lynn, and she had the same mindset. So the 54 is the number, but there's even more the mindset for all golfers to look at possibilities instead of faults and fixes.
Yeah, because, I mean, as we know, traditional golf instruction's faults and fixes.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with your swing? Let me give you a fix. And we wanted people to start focusing on what do you do when you play well, and start doing more of that.
Actually, we start every golf school or golf session asking them, tell me a few things you do when you play well. And most golfers just look at it like, what? I've never thought about that. But
Right.
like, if you want to play well, it's really good to know what you do when you play well. This is the tempo, or the trust in your decisions, or what are the ingredients in that great play.
And some might look at you that way because they literally have no idea what they do well, right? Because they can't even fathom that there's something good in their game. Your books and your teaching.
Yeah, that would be called a low level of awareness.
Right. Well, I've been told that before. In all walks of life, your teaching and your books are part science. They're part life help. They're part golf help, and they're part emotional checks. Why did you design them and your teachings that way, of all four of those components?
Well, because we found that's the best way how golfers learn. I mean, it's our books, it's our golf schools, and all of it. We usually need to know a little science, like this is just not made up as a good idea, that actually is, performance science and other things behind it. And then stories and sharing that makes things come alive, that this is real. Real golfers actually do these things. But then most importantly, we've found it needs to be applicable. You need to actually know how you're going to go and do this on the golf course and bring it to your golf game.
Yeah. And it's been, I was just going to add just one thing is I think that the science part is so important because so many golfers say, but when you present the science that this is how the brain works, or this is how you form a memory, or this might be how the yips come about, they actually listen.
Right.
Because it's important to understand that these things they aren't a mystery, that they have some science foundation to them.
Right. I love that. And, golf is full of all kinds of people with helpful advice and tips and tricks, but what kind of classic golf tip do you find is mostly ineffective in a golfer's game is probably most common?
Wow. Well, one of the things always gets me, and it drives me crazy when my brother tells my sister-in-law about these kind of things too. It's like, you came out of it, like,
or you lift it up.
Yeah, you keep your head down and things like that. It's so uneducated because it's what's visible to the eye, but there can be so many reasons why it's happening. So you need to actually know, is it because it's a physical limitation? Is it because I'm too outcome obsessed? I don't stay with my focus. I mean, there's so many different things that could be going on. So sometimes when they just say the obvious because you can see it and I think that's the fix, it drives me a little crazy.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I was going to say, you guys had a blind golfer on your show a while ago. And I remember, I think the one that drives me crazy is keep your eye on the ball. And because it really has nothing to do with it. And that, the first time I saw this blind golfer, he'd hold out like a 70-yard pitch shot. And I was like, the first thing I wanted to do is I'm like, how did you do that? And he's like, I have the target in my head. Like I know where I'm going.
Right.
It has nothing about keeping his eye on the ball. But anyway, that's the one that drives me crazy.
It's one that I say all the time to myself.
I feel the same way.
Yeah. No, that's good. So you had said that the outcome obsessed, which is such a great phrase. All golfers are outcome obsessed. They see a shot and the outcome is the only thing they can hang their hat on, is they did the right thing at the right time and everything worked, right? The outcome of their game, of a shot, of a hole, whatever. But the connection of the mind and body in the game of golf is mostly overlooked. And that's kind of what you're saying, that the mind over the body in most cases can produce tremendous results. i.e., our blind golfer friend, as well as anybody who might not have all of these skill set for, in a swing. The mind over the body is more important. How is that overlooked in the amateur game, and how do you get somebody to understand that?
Well, I mean, first is that mind-body is a reality. So, like, to deny that would be like, well, I know people still believe this, but like saying the earth is flat because I look out and the earth looks flat. But it's simply this, that, the mind body is a reality. I mean, what you think is going to affect your body, and what your body does is going to affect your mind. And so we just look at it as, let's deal with reality.
Yeah, and it's actually more than that. Yeah. You have the emotional component and all of that. So it's, like Lynn said, we just obviously try to take a little bigger view of things, like, okay, we are these humans playing golf in the golf course, and what's that all about? And every golfer, it doesn't matter if I'm a 30 handicap or playing on tour, every time I play golf, I have the body with me, I have my mind with me, I have the emotions with me. So if we're going to find the most efficient way of supporting golfers, it makes it a lot easier when we see them all interacting with each other and not separating them. Yeah. Or getting all the physical, technical things in place first, and after that, we might look at other components. It's such a slow process.
Oh, my God. And I think the separation of the two has hurt so many golfers. I think it's why, I'm sorry to say this, but people stay hacks. Because... Well, yeah, they
it's
don't.
Okay, Lynn. It's okay. He knows. Okay. He knows. It's fine.
And like you said, the process becomes like so slow. When in fact, just deal with the fact that every time you hit a golf shot, it is a mental process. It's a physical process. It's an emotional experience. Yeah. Like, I hate my outcome. I love my outcome. It's a social experience. So, we need to address all that.
Pia Nielsen and Lynn Marriott, guests on the Stick and Hack Show. They're the founders of Vision 54, authors and PGA and LPGA instructors and teachers.
Tell us about the power of visualization, and positive thinking. You talked about it a little bit, but what do people need to do when things don't go right? I mean, I think that's the one thing that something goes, they talk about being positive in their thought, but then when that falls apart the minute they do something wrong.
Yeah. We always say, we don't want to minimize it to just visualists, but, imaging can be seeing things, I can feel things, I can hear things, it's all those senses. And like you often say, Lynn, we need to be able to perceive through our senses what we're doing first.
Yeah, and I like to say it's imagery versus visualization, using all the senses, and you're preparing the nervous system for success. So all you're doing is just imagining the possibility of this success. It doesn't need to be an expectation. So people will sometimes say to us, I visualized myself birdieing the first hole, and then the second hole, and the third hole. Then I went out and played, and I made a triple on the first hole. Right. And they're like, it doesn't work. And we're like, no, you're missing the point. You don't take visualization and make it an expectation. You're just preparing yourself for what you want. So it's like priming the pump.
Yeah, and it's like anything. Even if I'm going to do a puzzle, I need to have an image of what this puzzle is going to look like before I start putting pieces together. So it's just common sense. Anything in life we want to create, we need to have some image of it. And with that, the other part you said with the positive self-talk, we wouldn't say that. We want productive self-talk, and what productive self-talk can be very different from person to person.
Yeah, exactly.
And but then dealing with when it's not going well, that all golfers need.
Yeah.
And the one thing that we want to get to early, and that's why we prefer to see golfers on the golf course too, is we usually have a common tendency of things that goes wrong when we hit the downward spiral. So we want golfers to know, it's the tempo that gets too quick, or it's the grip pressure gets too tight, or I start over preparing. You need to know as a golfer, what's the main thing that goes off when you lose it, so you know what to pay more attention to get on the right track again.
Yeah,
I think.
I just want to,
I was going to say for me, one of those things that goes off the rails is when you approach, and we talk about in the book, you talk about the play box and the think box. When you see a tough shot that has to hit over water, hit over sand, or anything like that, most real golfers and amateurs and hacks and even sticks, their first thought is, oh my God, what a terrible lie, what a terrible luck. I'm short-sighted. I've got to hit this 30-yard flop, right? And I got to land it within a foot or a yard of where I need to land it. There's no way. There's no way I can do this. Here we go. And then they try that shot. That's ridiculous. And I do it 100% of the time. But how do you get out of that mindset, ladies? Help me.
Well, I mean, first of all, everything you described that is so common, how you think and reason and project the future, nothing is based on something that's under your control. Yeah. So, likelihood is that you're going to miss your shot. You've done it many times. But let's say you come back to, I'm going to stick my finish and hold my finish in balance for 2 seconds. You need to bring it back to something that you actually is under your control and will positively influence your emotion. And it needs to get to that in one way or another.
Yeah, because just saying to yourself, I'm going to hit this shot. I'm going to hit this shot great. Even though all the signals in you are saying, no, you're not. You're going to hit it in the water. That doesn't work. I mean, that's like baloney. That just doesn't work. So like Pia said, it's now to say, I might hit it in the water. I might not hit it in the water. But what am I going to promise myself I'm going to do no matter what? And that's, again, putting your focus on something under your control.
Chelsea Day was on our show last year, a sports psychologist, and she said the same thing. Focus on one thing. Think about just one thing. And when things get tough or when things get tight in your match or whatever the case may be, if you're in a tough spot, try to concentrate on one thing. And that's kind of what you're saying too. Things that you can control and just concentrate on that. Let everything else that you've been doing for 20 years or 30 years or whatever happen, but just focus on the things that you can control, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. That's great advice. So physical, technical, mental, emotional, social, those are the key words in your teaching. Can you take us through them and why they're so important?
Yeah. So, years ago, as we were talking about like our pedagogy or how we wanted to explain things to players, was that for 54 to happen, they had to embrace reality. We already kind of talked about that earlier. And so as P and I were talking about this, we're like, golf is a physical game. It's a technical game. It's a mental game. Everybody has a brain. It's an emotional game. And unless you play by yourself, it's always a social game. You have to play with other people. So whether it's a touring professional who wants to make, a living at this, or it's a recreational or real golfer, they need to actually look at all those elements, what we sometimes call the reality of golf. And what is important is that, everybody usually only look at one, is the technical reality of golf. But all the other ones influence the technical. Like if I'm physically too tight, it might make me not make a good shoulder turn, or it might make me not be able to, get to a good position at impact. Right. And mentally, if you have a 4-footer and you don't trust your decision and you decelerate because you don't trust your decision, it's going to show up in the putting stroke, but it wasn't it wasn't the technique's fault. It was you not being decided enough and staying committed to your decision. And like emotionally, if you have too much adrenaline, you're too hyped up, I promise it's going to affect your tempo. So it's all these other things show up in the technique, but it's not the technique's fault. So we often say, we think the technique gets blamed for way too many things when it isn't even the technique's fault. It's just showing up there. So we just want golfers of all levels to have a wider view of what's going on. And from there, decide what is my biggest return on investment to play the game I want to play. But it just helps so many to understand that sometimes it is about position and posture, but many times it's just other things happening that's showing up in the technique. And we find that to be really important for both hacks and sticks.
I think that's so important and overlooked by most golfers.
Absolutely. Lynn, you were going to say something?
Well, yeah, and the social part, I already mentioned it also earlier, but people say, everything's going great until I'm now in the club championship, and now the club and all my buddies come out to watch, and like my swing fell apart. Well, that's not because your swing, there's something wrong with your swing. It's that you haven't yet learned a skill set to deal with all the social implications of success or playing in front of your friends or, making that putt on the last hole when everybody's watching. That's
never, first of all, that's never an issue for me. Believe me, never a problem. I don't have that. I don't need that skill set because I'm never in that position. Now he has made putts just like you just described in front of 500 or 50, 100 people on the hill of our course. And it's annoying to me to watch that. I don't even celebrate. In fact, I leave immediately. But he does have that kind of mental thing where he just stays right in the moment. And it's funny because golfers this year in 2020, talking about they don't have that adrenaline and that hype and that angst and that because there's no fans there, that it was different for them because they're so used to playing in front of people that the opposite now has become more difficult for them. Talk about that. And that's got to be very crazy to even think about.
Yeah, it is. But I just want to say what you said. That's why it's so exciting today because, the technology and all the technique is come so far. But the next stage of great golf is going to be when we put this technical advancement together with a more human factor of the game and put it together to a new whole. And it's coming that way. Like we have great relationship with Ledbetter and Sean Foley, like we mentioned earlier, and we all know that's where it's heading. And it's going to help the real golfers so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's wild.
Yeah. But actually, a player that we're coaching, he's playing Augusta this week. And, he said even in his quote, in the paper I read this morning was that, it's really weird to play Augusta without any fans. And, it kind of feels like a buddy game. But he actually played pretty well yesterday, so we're happy about that. But, it is different because often they do feed off the crowd. So they, have to find that level of adrenaline, that level of focus without kind of external hype.
Yeah, and I think it's more the extroverted players are affected more than the introverted.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to make a reference to the book that if people haven't read it, but most people think of Ty Webb, Chevy Chase's character from Caddyshack, as a wisecracking know-it-all and happens to be a good golfer. But his character is demonstrating some key elements of a good golfer, which is trust. Why is that?
Yeah, well, because if you don't trust your decision, how does it go?
Not great.
Not well. Yeah, not very often. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I mean, you might get lucky. But so trust is like one of those, we often say that it's like one of those elements that you can't see, but is critical for every shot you hit.
Yeah. And every golfer knows what it is. So that's why we try to help so many golfers when they going to make a decision. You can have some logic because of the distance and wind and blah, blah, blah. But you need to learn to check in with your gut too. Like, what shot to actually trust right now? Because if the trust isn't there, it doesn't matter that it's supposed to be the good decision. It's not going to work. So many golfers today have forgotten to listen into their guts. So we often have to do a lot of things for them to wake it up again and use it in their games. And it's so important.
Yeah. And we actually talk a little bit about the science of this whole gut instinct versus intellectual understanding. So like Pia said, maybe all the facts, you get all your numbers and you do all your calculations and it says it's an 8-iron. But that little voice in your gut says, right? So the interesting thing, the science says that the signals like the gut, the heart, and the brain, they're all connected through something called the vagus nerve. Mm-hmm. And there's more signals from the gut to the heart to the brain than there are from the brain to the heart to the gut. So there's actually more signals coming from that gut instinct. And like, again, it's not always right, but we need to be able to listen in.
Yeah, because if you have all the numbers right, but that voice says 7-iron, because maybe it knows that you're a little more sluggish today. It's the numbers doesn't say that, but you need to get a hold of it, and it's for all level golfers.
And that is such great advice because there is not, and truly, you get a number as a real golfer, an amateur golfer, a hack, even sticks. You get a number. It's 145 to the pin. I hit my 9-iron 150, so 145 it is, and I pull it out of the bag, and there I go. And I'm 15 yards short. And I go, well, I got bad yardage. Right? I got bad yardage. But in reality, it was because of all those other things, and I didn't commit. I didn't trust. I didn't just say, I was trying to hold it off. I was trying to, I wanted to hit it in a certain spot or whatever crap I think. And I just didn't hit the shot the way that I have hit that shot forever. That wasn't my yardage at that moment because I chose it to not be my yardage. Is that basically what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it is. And sometimes it's like you might not trust anything, but then you need to go, what do I trust the most right now? And you go with that.
Yeah. All right. So if you had 10 players lined up in a row, it is said that you would find 10 different swings. But would they all need 10 different fixes? Or is there a couple that could help all 10 of those swings?
Well, we don't like the word fixes. But
right. My apologies. Nice work, Mike. Mike wrote that question. God, I ask you for one thing.
Well, yeah, but I'm actually, you answer first. And then
possibly everybody needs a different, solution. Mm-hmm. Okay, possibly because, for some it might be a physical thing they need to do. For some it might be a mental or a focus thing they need to do. For some it might be that it's an emotional thing. They need more adrenaline, less adrenaline.
Some it could be technical.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. But I would say there's some things we could do that we know would help all of them. If there are 10 lined up and we have them all make swings like fast tempo, medium tempo, slower tempo, we know all 10 of them are going to dial into something that works for them.
Yeah. Or all 10 of them try, really tight grip pressure, a medium grip pressure, and then a light grip pressure, and then just, again, kind of scaling it, figuring out, hey, how do I hit my best shots with, stronger grip pressure or maybe a lighter grip pressure? Not everybody needs to hold it like a baby bird.
Right. Yeah. Well, Pia Nielsen and Lynn Marriott are with us here. They are the authors of these two books, Be a Player and Every Shot Must Have a Purpose, and founders of Vision 54. Go to vision54.com to learn more about their teaching, their career. You guys are, and forgive me, but you're teaching royalty, you're golf royalty, and we are honored and privileged to have you on the program for taking some time with us here today. We hope that we can do more things with you guys down the road as Stick and Hack grows and as we grow the world's largest and greatest golf club without the course. It might make teaching easier for you. You don't have to watch any bad swings. You don't have to watch any golf. You can just tell people, just think differently and things can change. But continued success, guys. Great to see you, and we'll talk very soon, all right?
Yeah, thank you both.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
All right, there they go. That is Pia and Lynn Marriott from Vision 54. Just a treat to talk to them. They're awesome. Yeah. And I can imagine that teaching and being with them when you're playing golf, just your attitude would change instantly. Yeah. They're so cheerful and happy, and they're like, yeah, everything's fine. Just be different. just think differently. But no, that's really cool. So thank you to them. All right, Stick and Hack program continues here as we go in now to our game called Stick or Hack. And Mike, this is Stick or Hack around fast food chains. Okay.
Yep.
Now the Stick or Hack, I just want to kind of recalibrate everyone's brain. This isn't necessarily good or bad. It's more about how they approach their craft and how they approach the art of fast food, as it were. So a stick would be, hey, we are going to take this very seriously and we're going to give you the best product we possibly can.
Yeah.
A hack is, hey, we're going to be very successful, but we don't really care. All right, so that's where we're at. Stick or Hack, fast food chains, and we start with Arby's. Mike, stick or hack?
I'm going to go stick with Arby's.
100% stick.
Yeah.
That they've got the meats, but they've also they're expensive.
They are, but they like have finely crafted deli sandwiches. So I feel like they're very they're stick.
McDonald's.
Hack.
Yeah. Wendy's.
I'm gonna go with stick.
Stick.
Yeah.
We're 3 for 3 in agreeing.
This is something's
got to go.
Never happens.
Something has got to go
Something's
different
wrong.
here. My God. Taco Bell.
Hack. Yeah.
Hardee's.
Ooh. I'm gonna go with hack.
I'm going with stick. They try so hard. Hardee's tries so hard to be great.
Yeah.
That they're not necessarily great.
Right.
But they try really hard. Stick.
All right, I'll go with it. I'll go with that.
So we're in agreement? We're 5 for 5.
I'll buy that.
In or out?
Never had it.
How about in and out? Yeah. In or out isn't an actual restaurant. In and out.
I've never had in or out or in and out.
Producer Shane finally brought something to the program. 37 episodes. In and out is...
I've never had it.
Really?
I haven't.
Oh.
I have not had it.
Stick.
I've been out west plenty of times, and I just have never had a chance to go there.
Relax. No one's judging you.
Okay.
I cannot believe that he's never been there.
This is my Shawshank Redemption.
Burger King.
I got to go with Hack.
Hack.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
Stick.
Hack.
Really?
Well, I'm mad at them. So that's more of a personal thing right now. They are a stick brand, but I'm mad at them.
Oh, okay.
For various reasons.
Oh, okay.
It's just become too much.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sonic.
Hack.
Oh, no. That's where we disagree. Sonic
Really?
is stick. They have 3,000 things on their menu. You can get whatever you want at any time of the day. They got the car hops. They got the whole thing. It's all stick, in my opinion. I love it. KFC.
Hack.
KFC. I want KFC to be stick, but they've kind of given up.
Yeah.
They've just said, hey, look, this is our recipe for the rest of time. Like it or lump it.
Yeah. That
Right?
whole yum.
No, I think KFC, they're going to be hacked. Except for they had that bowl where it was chicken, mashed potatoes, corn, and cheese in a bowl.
Oh, I do remember that.
That thing was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was a stick meal from a hack company. Thanks, KFC, for your sponsorship. Stick and Hack Show.
We're never getting yum brands.
Quite possibly the greatest golf show in the free world from the greatest golf club in the world without the course. Presented by Phone Caddy by Desert Fox Golf. The best phone holder for golf, period. Go to our member perks page. Get exclusive deals and discounts from great brands around the country. My thanks to Pia and Lynn for their time today. You guys have a great week. Mike, I'm proud of you.
Proud of you, man.
Talk to you later.
Peace out, guys.
The Stick and Hack Show is now over. Subscribe, rate, comment, and tell your friends. You are now free to go about your day.